The rain that afternoon wasn't just rain, it was the sky grieving quietly. Each drop fell gently, like a silent sob. The cemetery was nearly empty, but not silent. The ache of loss hung in the air. A little boy stood alone, no umbrella, his soaked shoes squishing in the mud. His small hand clutched a crumpled note, his lips pressed tightly to stop them from trembling. He didn't cry anymore, his tears had run out days ago. From a distance, Ethan Miller, 38, watched. He'd only come to say goodbye to an old neighbor, Mr. Thompson, a man who'd once taught him to ride a bike, to throw a ball. But what caught Ethan's heart wasn't the grave. It was the boy standing beside it. Alone. Something inside Ethan cracked open. And he followed. Beneath the bus stop shelter, the boy sat curled up like a kitten left out in the cold. His clothes were too small. His coat, too large. Ethan approached, cautiously. "You okay, buddy?" he asked. The boy looked up. His eyes weren't just tired. They were old. Like he'd seen too much too young. "You knew Grandpa?" the boy asked. Ethan nodded. "I did. I'm Ben." Ethan smiled softly. "Nice to meet you, Ben." Ben didn't smile back. Instead, he held out a piece of wet, crumpled paper. "I wrote this to God. But the wind dropped it near Grandpa's grave. I think maybe he wanted someone else to find it." Ethan unfolded the letter. It read, "Dear God. Please make someone love my mom like Dad did before he died. She doesn't laugh anymore. I miss her laugh. I miss her singing. I don't want her to be alone. Please send someone who will stay. Please marry my mom. She's all I have left. Love, Ben." Ethan read it once. Then again. His throat tightened. It was more than a letter. It was a desperate prayer. One that shattered his heart. Later that evening, after pacing the floor of his apartment, Ethan made a decision. He drove back to the small townhouse near the cemetery. She answered the door after the second knock. Red-rimmed eyes, tangled auburn hair, a weary expression that tried so hard to smile. "Hi," Ethan said, clearing his throat. "I met your son. Ben." Her posture stiffened. "Is he all right?" "He's a remarkable kid. I read his letter." Her eyes widened with embarrassment. "Oh God. I'm so sorry. He's been through so much. His father died last year. My dad, just last week. He doesn't know how to deal with it." "He's not trying to deal with it," Ethan said gently. "He's trying to heal it." She looked down, hands twisting the corner of her sleeve. "I'm Ethan." "I'm Claire," she said softly. "I know this is sudden, but, would you let me take you and Ben to dinner? Just dinner. No expectations." She stared for a moment. Then, slowly, nodded. Dinner wasn't fancy. A small Italian place with checkered tablecloths and flickering candles. Ben devoured pasta like he hadn't eaten in days. Claire smiled politely but kept glancing at the door like she didn't trust the moment to last. But Ethan stayed. And then he came back. Again. And again. They laughed once at a park when Ben accidentally soaked Ethan with a water balloon. Claire laughed so hard she cried. Ben began sleeping through the night again. Claire began humming while doing dishes again. And one quiet evening, Ethan stood in the doorway, watching her stir sauce while singing an old jazz tune, and he realized. He was falling in love. Not just with Claire. But with the way she held the world together for her son. With the way Ben looked up at him like a lighthouse in a storm. When life was beginning to feel peaceful again for Ethan, Claire, and Ben, a shadow returned from the past. One that didn't knock, but barged in. Claire's brother, Richard, had been absent for months. He only ever showed up when there was something in it for him. And now, hearing rumors that Claire might remarry and move on, he came storming back into her life. What the hell is going on here? Richard yelled as he pushed open the door without waiting for a response. You're running around with a stranger. Letting some guy play daddy to my nephew? Claire tried to remain calm. Richard, Ethan has been nothing but kind to us. Ben is safe with him. He cares. Richard scoffed, stepping closer. You think this is about feelings? Wake up. Ben's father left behind assets, and as his uncle, I have a say. If you think you can just hand everything over to some outsider, think again. The truth was clear, Richard didn't care about Ben. He cared about control, about money, and about pushing Claire around like he always had. That evening, Richard tried talking to Ben alone, crouching down in front of him with a fake smile. Listen, kid, that man, Ethan, he's not your real dad. He's a stranger. I'm your uncle. I'm your blood. You belong with me. Ben took a step back. But he's the one who's here. He tucks me in. He makes Mom laugh. You're just here to yell. Ethan had overheard everything and calmly stepped in. Richard, he said, voice steady, being family isn't about DNA. It's about presence, patience, and love. I'm here, every day. You only show up when there's something to take. Richard's face burned with fury, but he had no response. That night, Claire finally stood up to her brother. You may be my brother, Richard, but if you only bring bitterness, greed, and control into our lives, you have no place here. Ben deserves peace. He deserves to grow up surrounded by love, not threats. Ben held his mother's hand and stepped toward Ethan. For Ben's 9th birthday, they went to the same park where they had their first picnic. There were balloons, cupcakes, and a baseball glove Ethan had helped him pick out. Just before cake, Ethan knelt down. Hey buddy, remember your letter to God? Ben nodded shyly. Well, Ethan smiled, handing him a small box. Think you could help me deliver a message this time? Ben's eyes grew wide. He raced over to Claire. Mom! Mom! Look! She turned. Ben handed her the box. Behind him, Ethan walked forward, heart pounding, and knelt on one knee. Claire, he said, voice shaking, you and Ben, you're not just a part of my life now. You are my life. I want to build a home where laughter lives again. Where Ben feels safe. Where you feel loved. I'm not perfect, but I promise to try every day. Tears streamed down Claire's cheeks. She looked at her son, then at Ethan. Yes, she whispered. 1,000,000 times yes. Ben cheered. We're a family now. A real family. The first night in their new home, Ben asked Ethan to read him a bedtime story. Then he said something that would stay with Ethan forever. I think God gave me 2 dads. One in heaven. And one who came because I wrote a letter. Ethan kissed his forehead, eyes burning. I think God just needed someone to be brave enough to listen. In the hallway, Claire stood, watching them, her hands over her mouth. For the first time in years, she felt safe.